Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Level 1 Podcast. Today is Monday, the 8th of January, 2024. I'm DSP, and I welcome you here to the show. I hope you're all doing well as we begin a brand spanking new week of streaming fun here on DSPGaming. And as we begin my year-end series starting tonight, which I'm very excited to start. As you know, every year, at the end of the year, or very early in the next year, as usually ends up being the case, I recap everything that happened the year before. The most disappointing games of the year, the best games of the year, and this year we're even doing something special where you're voting on your personal picks for your favorite playthroughs that I have put out in 2023. So 3 different year-end series this year. I'm very excited to have those series start tonight on my late night stream. So I hope that you guys will be around for that. Obviously, I'm also excited to continue on with all of my ongoing playthroughs. Yesterday, we had kind of a hiatus of that with React Day, and then I had a night where I had to make private Patreon videos. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. We got a little bit more progress with DSP Throwback, listening to your feedback, trying to implement changes that you guys wanted. And basically, I want to let you know what's happened this morning because something new has happened, and I want your feedback on it. Man, I mean, we got so much going on, and I'm obviously excited for all of this. Keep in mind, this Wednesday night, a very special mystery late night stream, which you are not going to want to miss, and that's all I'm saying about it. I'm literally not spoiling it at all. I've not given you guys a single hint all week of what this stream is, and I've seen rampant, kind of guesses and, things about it. Speculation, I guess, is the correct word, right? And, you're going to find out sooner rather than later, but I don't think anyone got it right. But, again, I am really, when it comes to, I'm like, I have a pet peeve about a t-shirt under something that you're wearing not being even. You notice that? Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, so I'm wearing my nice cardigan. This is my wife's Christmas present to me this year, was this nice cardigan sweater. It's super comfy. It's very, very warm. I love it. But the shirt underneath is not evenly distributed. And it bothers me when the undershirt is not even. It literally bothers me. And I'm looking at my camera. I'm like, wow, now it's not even. Now I'm bothered again. So do I just not look at the camera? What do I do? Not look at the camera? Because you know it's not going to be even all day, right? Like, let's be real. No one's body is completely symmetrical. That undershirt will not be even all day long. And the more I look at that camera and stare at it, the more it's going to bother me. I'm just going to like, let me fuck with it again. No, wait, I'm supposed to be doing a stream. Anyway, thank you all for being here on the show. Today we're going to cover, some schedule updates. I want to talk a little bit about the updates to DSP Throwback, more of which are in process. And today we got just a little bit of game news. Not too much, but a little bit to cover. Again, it's been a slow news week. There's not much going on in regards to the news cycle. So that's why I really haven't been talking about it much this week. May have some time for Q&A. We'll see. Let's play it by ear. Let's see how today goes. So as always, let's start at the beginning, which would be yesterday. Okay, so yesterday was my weird day of the week. Every Sunday, I do my React show over on DSP React. It's the one consistent piece of content that I've stuck to on that channel all year long. Episode 46 was yesterday. Keep in mind that DSP Reacts relaunched early last year, and the first stream started around mid to late February. So we're almost at 1 year of having a React channel. And what I'll probably do, honestly, is next month do a quick special video to just celebrate having the channel for a year and the ups and downs and the things that I've learned about having a React channel, and share that with you, and then try to get suggestions for improvement. Because I'll be honest, it's been rough going. I've tried to follow, what everyone has wanted on that channel. First of all, I cannot do what everyone wants, because if I did, then I would have less time to put out the other content people want, and then no one is satisfied. Either there's not enough gameplay, or there's not enough reacting, or you know what I mean? Like, people, I think they were expecting the world from that channel, like, oh, I was going to be doing long-form reacts frequently, plus the short-form clip show, plus I was going to be doing live reacts to events, plus this, plus that. It's like, yeah, then when do I do gameplay? Right? Like, when does the gameplay come into play? All my playthroughs go on hold every time I do React content, right? So there had to be a trade-off somewhere. At the very least, I do really enjoy doing the weekly clip show. It is the bread and butter of that channel. That's the one major piece of content. So I hope that you guys will check it out. So yesterday was that day where we did that show, and honestly, the show was great. Episode 46 covered a ton of different topics. There was documentary-style stuff. There was comedy-style stuff. All kinds of vlogging. Good stuff that we watched, right? So, if you didn't see the show, the parts are going live over the week. 3 are live as of now. Another 3 will go live over the next 3 days. Please consider becoming a member over there if you would like to be the people who actually nominate the clips every week to be watched on that clip show. We seem to be pretty stable at 100 members. That channel's been up and down all over the last year. We were as low as 50. We were as high as 150. But it seems to have stabilized around 100 consistent members, and I'm very happy for that. It makes it viable for me to continue to do that channel, you see. So thank you very much for that. Please give it a look. Last night, I didn't do any streaming at all. But at the same time, man, I was so busy. Like, last night was one of my busier nights, even though I didn't stream. So just to give you some perspective on all the stuff I did last night, okay? So I had to film 4 different private patron videos, some of which were private reacts, some of which were Q&A videos. And that took over 2 hours just to get through. Then I had to upload all those videos and send them to the appropriate party so they could be watched. Then I had to set up all my usual stuff for the next day. So I had to do the daily wrap video, had to do the schedule updates, had to update Nightbot with the new schedule, like all the stuff I do at the end of every normal streaming day. So I did all of that, and I look at the time, and it's already past 9 p.m. Now, normally that'd be the time when I'm finishing my night stream. I'm like, well, I gotta get to work on the year-end series, because tonight is the launch of my year-end series. I gotta get it set up. So I pulled out my list of all the playlists that I had created in 2023, every game basically that I had played in the year, and I started weighing and balancing games against each other, right? What games were just atrociously bad overall, which obviously that's going to hit a disappointing games list, right? What games were good, but for some reason there were issues with the game that held it back and made it disappointing? What games were monstrously overhyped and did not live up to said hype? What games were overpromised and then underdelivered, right? That's all the things that I go into when I do my disappointing games countdown every single year. So I have to weigh and balance all these factors, all right? And basically, I did narrow it down to around 12 games, okay? But then I started looking at the video footage that I had, and I was like, oh crap, I actually don't have like saved videos of 1 or 2 of these games. And then I was thinking, those were the lower games on the list anyway, right? Like, I'll give you a perfect example here. Atomic Heart was going to be one of my disappointing games of the year. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, but did anyone really have expectations for Atomic Heart? Not really. The one thing that's disappointing about Atomic Heart is that the intro is very Bioshock-esque. and makes you like, oh, like it looks good. But then once you actually start playing the game, you realize the whole game isn't like that at all. That the game is very kind of tedious and stupidly written and just not very entertaining, and it's more annoying than anything else. So if I had footage of it, I probably would have put it into the countdown, but I didn't have any footage left. I was like, do I really want to go start pulling videos off of YouTube now when I have 10 other perfectly disappointing games that I could do in this countdown? So there's an example of a game that maybe would have made the countdown, but I already got enough to work with 10 other games, so it won't be in the countdown, okay? Anyway. Jasper Kitty, what's going on? I'm trying to talk to my viewers about the countdown tonight. What do you think? Jasper, what is your most disappointing game of 2023? Jasper Kitty, you know I'm talking to you. You act like you don't know. You know I'm talking to you. He totally knows I'm speaking to him. Anyway, let's continue. So, basically, I went through all my playlists, everything, and I narrowed it down to 10 games. And what I can tell you, just a tiny bit of a preview of tonight's stream. Definitely not all of these games are bad. In fact, I would argue almost every game on the list is good. But there's going to be a couple running themes tonight. Running theme number 1, bad graphical performance. Why they're releasing brand new hot games in 2023 that run like hot shit doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, there's no excuse for the graphics to be something holding a game back in the modern era. This should have been something that has been tackled ages ago. How they can release games that run like trash and then hold them back is just stupid, okay? And there are quite a few games that the graphics held it back. That was number 1. Number 2, another big running theme tonight on the Disappointing Games Countdown is going to be games that don't hold up to their competitors, all right? What these game developers need to start realizing is that now there's too much competition for you to be slouching. You know, there was an era when it didn't really matter. You didn't have to work that hard. You could check off the boxes, pump out another iteration of your game, and it was good enough. But now, when you've got so much competition, right? There was a few genres of games in particular this year that had humongous releases and iterations that were just absolutely positively amazing and groundbreaking. And then you come out with your game that's a competitor to that, and in a normal year, you say, oh, that's a great game. But now it doesn't hold a candle to your competition, so your game ends up being disappointing, right? So I'm sure already some of you in your minds are probably formulating wait, I know exactly what Phil's talking about, correct? Like, he's probably talking about this game or this game when it came out after another one and it wasn't as good, right? So you're going to see that represented definitely tonight on the Disappointing Games Countdown, all right? But again, I need to emphasize, all the games of the Disappointing Games Countdown are not bad games. It's just that they were games that should have been better or had overhype, or people overhyped them and over-applauded and lauded them when they were out, but in reality, they're just not as good as it was in the public perception, okay? At least in my opinion, so. So there you go. So I worked on that. I got the whole thing set up. I got all the videos put into OBS. I got them all up and working. The only one bummer is that these year-end series definitely, they don't look as polished as I'd like them to be, and the reason being, there's not much I can do about my old webcam from the playthrough. Like, every playthrough's different. Some playthroughs, the webcam's here. Some playthroughs, the webcam's here. Some playthroughs, the webcam's here, right? So when I'm doing these countdowns, and I'm playing footage from my playthrough of the game behind, and then my new webcam, my modern webcam is right here, but then you still see the webcam in another place from the original playthrough. There's nothing I can do about that. You can't remove a webcam from raw video. You know what I'm saying? So it does make it a little weird and discombobulating and disappointing in that regard, but there's not much I can do about that. That's just the kind of content I make. You know, I'm gonna be on the screen twice, right? So anyway, I messed around with that, got it all set up, right? Got everything uploaded, got everything good to go. And then I was about to leave the office and I realized, oh yeah, I still got DSP Throwback. Oops. So I ran back to the office. I said, well, what I got to do now is I got to name the new video for DSP Throwback that was going to come out this morning, which did, by the way, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then I got to start uploading more videos. So just so everyone knows, talking with my team of people working on DSP Throwback, okay, currently, I have about enough raw footage currently uploaded to do about 13 parts of Final Fantasy 13, okay? Right now, as of this morning, Part 5 went live. So roughly, we have about another week of footage of Final Fantasy 13 that can be edited and ready to go and put out into new parts, okay? But if you remember, the discussion that we've been having is that people are probably going to get burnt out if all I do is release Final Fantasy 13. In fact, you can go check out the channel for yourself right now on DSP Throwback, which is youtube.com/@DSP Throwback, or type !throwback in the chat if you want a link in the chat. Part 1 is like almost 5,000 views now, which is crazy. I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking these videos would get 1,000 views tops. Seriously. Part 2 has maybe like 1,100 views or something like that, so just over 1,000. Part 3, I think at this point, has around 800, 900 views. And Part 4, which released yesterday, now we saw the dip off, because Part 4 only has like 500 views. Okay? So there, now you've seen the trail off. When you have this hype, this initial hype for a new playthrough that's been gone for, you know, the greater part of 10 years, people get excited for it, they want to see it, they start watching the initial parts, and then, boom, the trail off happens. Particularly, I'm not surprised this happened with Final Fantasy 13. Can I be honest with you guys? The game is boring. The game actually doesn't get good until much later in the game, when you get past this like almost 10 to 15 hours of you're stuck in this very linear storyline that's confusing, and I'll be quite honest, it's not that interesting. The plot of Final Fantasy 13 is pretty damn boring. The game, it gets better when the game opens up and you get to the world where you can explore fully openly. The music gets better, the graphics get better, the content gets better, like the whole game gets better. But you have to go through like 15 boring ass hours. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. That's some of the worst pacing I've seen in an RPG. To this day, it still doesn't hold up. It's really badly done. Okay? So, I think what happened is the appeal of seeing this playthrough live lasted 2 days. And then people just kept watching and like, wait a minute. I'm on part 4. Wow, there's like, it's kind of boring. Like, the plot's kind of stupid. It is. That's what I was saying the whole time I played the game 14 years ago. I thought the plot was quite boring. So, I think it gets better later on, but how many people are going to stick around, right, for me to hit part 30 when the game gets good? That's what happens with a lengthy RPG like this, right? Now, undoubtedly, there will be people. There'll probably be people who will watch the whole thing. Probably a few hundred, right? But the point I'm making here is if this game is so long, if this playthrough is going to end up being 60 plus parts, right? Are people going to want to just see Final Fantasy 13 on that channel for 60 plus days and nothing else, no other content? I think people would be quite upset and bored. So, as of last night, I uploaded my first batch of Red Dead Redemption videos, okay? This is from my original run, which I believe I want to say was around mid-2010. I'm not sure exactly when the game came out, but it was around mid-2010. So I uploaded the first batch, and what I'm going to do is continue every night. The thing is, to upload those videos, I have to upload them overnight. And the reason being is if I upload during the day, it's going to hinder my daily uploads here on DSPGaming, which I can't do. I need my regular content to be coming out. So I have to batch them up overnight to upload. And then hope for the best, because I'm not here sitting here micromanaging and making sure they upload. But for the most part, it's been working, okay? So the first batch I uploaded, I'll probably upload a bunch more over the week. And so now, what we'll be able to do is at some point, maybe next week, not this week, but maybe next week, we'll begin an alternation. Where maybe it'll be like, one day it's Final Fantasy, one day it's Red Dead Redemption. One day it's Final Fantasy, one day it's Red Dead Redemption. So it's not just the same thing constantly, okay? So, I got some Red Dead videos uploaded. I got all my work done. I finally got out of the office last night. And literally, even though I came into the office early, I came into this office almost an hour early than I usually would. I wasn't out of here until late. And I was like, wow, what a night. I didn't stream, but I actually technically did more work than if I had just done a regular night stream. Good news is, all the Patreon videos got done, and they all worked. I don't have to re-record like last month. Remember the disaster of last month when I had to re-record the videos and everything? None of that happened. Everything went smoothly. Moving forward, with the rest of this month, I should be able to have double streams every day now. There shouldn't be days where I can't do night streams and things like that. Everything should be smooth, which means lots more gameplay of the games you're missing, like Sea of Stars. I know people would like more of that. We're going to get more of that, okay? We're going to have some Street Fighter. Maybe we'll see the return of Call of Duty for a night or two for variety purposes. Maybe we'll see a random stream thrown in here or there, right, for variety purposes. We'll have the option to do that rather than having these streams, missing out on night streams every week, okay? So there you go. So that was yesterday. Now, I want to make you guys aware of some new things that happened on DSP Throwback overnight. Number one, new channel banner, new channel logo, new artwork all over the channel. So if you haven't been there in a couple days and you think, man, it's great he's uploading those playthroughs, but the channel looks like crap. I mean, you're right. Those were placeholder things that were thrown together quickly for the channel. Now we have new high-quality art on that channel. So please go give it a look. Let me know what you think. But I think that it looks a lot better now, honestly. It's like a pixel art style and pretty high quality. So give it a look, all right? In addition, this morning at 10 a.m., so 90 minutes ago, Final Fantasy 13 Part 5 went live on the channel. Now, directly as a result of your feedback, okay, this part is now, get this, only in 30 frames per second. We did not use the frame rate upscaler this time. We purposefully stayed away from the frame rate upscaler because you guys were complaining about it, saying that it was creating ghosting. All right? So the deal is I want your feedback because now we did exactly what you wanted. So by the way, it's still scaled upscaled to 1440p, so the resolution's still much higher, okay? And all the other changes, the longer video, the audio filter, all have been put into play. But it is only 30 frames. Now, I say 30 frames. I'm going to be honest, it's not. The old camera I used to use said it was 30 frames. It's really like 20-something, okay? But basically, the frame rate has not been touched. Everything else has been. I would like your feedback on this. Does it look good? Do you like this better or worse than the 60-frame upscaling? The first 4 parts had 60-frame upscaling, but it caused ghosting. And a lot of people were like, I can't watch this. The ghosting's too annoying. All right? Personally, I watched the first 4 parts. I thought that 80% of the time the videos looked absolutely amazing, and 20% of the time when they were doing the platforming segments, it was a little annoying with the ghosting, okay? So, now I want your feedback on the 30 frames. Do you like the 30 frames better with no ghosting, but it doesn't have any frame rate improvements? Did you prefer the first 4 videos, or do you like part 5 better? I need that feedback. I need to know what's better. In fact, I might even put up like an overnight poll about it and say, hey guys, so FYI, I'd really like your feedback. Can you tell me 30 or 60? Because we'd like to have guidance of what to do moving forward with the playthroughs, right? Now, the other thing, I told you I uploaded these Red Dead videos, right? So, just on a whim, I clicked play on a few of them to see how they looked. They look terrible. Like, and I know people still like the legacy stuff because it's old, but I'm watching, like, I can't, it's like, to me, it's unwatchable. Like, they're on a train in the intro cutscene, and half the people you can't even tell, like, they don't even look human because the lighting is so bad, it's distorted and looks terrible. And then when John walks into the first town, all of the exposure of the camera just completely fails. So it looks absolutely awful. It really does. I'm genuinely upset because I know that playthrough's great, but it looks terrible. And that was being in the Old West where most of the lighting for the most part was like bright sun in the desert all day. I know that it definitely didn't look good. Okay. So I'm just like, damn. I'm disappointed because what I'm hoping is when these videos are run through this AI not upscaler, but I guess, yeah, the upscaler, that it does something to fix it. I don't know, I don't know how much of a difference it'll make visually, but that's what it really needs for an upheaval is the visuals. The visuals look atrociously bad. So, if anything, hope for the best and hope that when we get to work on those videos, likely later this week for next week, that'll do something. All right. So anyway, So that's coming. So all in a nutshell, here's the updates on DSP Throwback. New channel art. So the channel definitely looks better. Part 5 of Final Fantasy 13 is now in 30 frames instead of 60. No ghosting, but I want your feedback. Do you like that better? Or would you like me to go back to 60 frames? Because we could go back, okay? And Red Dead Redemption is on the way. The first batch of videos is uploaded. I'm working on more every day. And, you know, likely what we'll end up doing, maybe starting next week, is alternation. Where once we get to like a certain set number of videos of Final Fantasy, maybe 10 or 13, however maybe we have, then we say, okay, now every day we'll alternate. Red Dead, Final Fantasy, Red Dead, Final Fantasy. And that way, people have content to watch who maybe aren't so much into one game or the other, okay? The only other update I have, and then we can move on from Throwback today, is the viewership is still consistently good. And every day I'm getting hundreds of new watch hours on the channel, which is excellent. We are on pace to re-qualify for YouTube partnership by the end of the week, roughly, as long as it stays on the pace it's at. And, you know, it shows no signs of stopping. People are still watching the videos. So as long as it maintains that pace, probably just a few more days, and then I can reapply. And I would hope it would be a smooth process, but I have absolutely no clue. You know, this channel already was partnered in the past. It only lost its partnership because I stopped uploading to it, right? It's the only reason. So hopefully it wouldn't be an arduous process, but I guess we'll see. Especially because the fact that this channel has been long-standing. It's a long-running channel on YouTube. It has videos on it with over 1 million views. So you would think YouTube would look at that and be like, okay, it's a channel that already had partnership. It's got active content. Again, let's just flip the switch. But I don't know. Some people are saying if you have a brand new channel on YouTube and you try to get it partnered, it could take weeks for them to get around to reviewing it. And that's like, that's shitty, right? That's real shitty. Weeks to reviewing the channel, right? That's pretty bad. So we'll see, I guess. We'll find out when this hits. Basically, I think what I should do is probably just stop talking about it for now, because I feel like I'm building too much anticipation, right? So let's just relax, and then when finally it qualifies, I'll apply. I'll let you guys know. Hopefully the next time you hear about me talking about that, there'll be good news. Like saying, yes, it's repartnered, you'll see ads on it now, and yada, 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 right? Okay. All right, there you go. So that's what I was doing last night. That's what's live on DSP Throwback as of this morning. Let's talk about the schedule for the rest of the week. Today, obviously, we've got a nice chill podcast, and after this, we've got Baldur's Gate 3 continuing in the Underdark. We have basically done everything in Act 1, besides go to the Mountain Pass, which people are saying is kind of like the big second half of Act 1, which then leads into Act 2. So I went back to the Underdark, and we're exploring around there, and you guys are helping me because apparently there's a lot of hidden content down in the Underdark. So we just did this big fight against the fish people who were led astray by a false god, and we had to fight all of them. We took them out, and man, my characters who hit level 5 are much better now. I mean, friggin' Lae'zel can attack up to 3 times a turn, which is ridiculous, and she's very maneuverable. And now, both Dark Scalefill and Will have these really damaging, powerful spells from a distance. So I basically got two magic snipers, a physical sniper with Astarion, who's very evasive and doesn't take much damage, and then we've got Lae'zel running around beating the shit out of everybody. So I'm pretty excited to play more Baldur's Gate 3 today. I think it's going to be a great stream. You guys continue to show up and engage and all this fun stuff. Okay, so I'm very excited for more today. I hope you'll stick around after this podcast and hang out with me in Baldur's Gate 3. Tonight, on the late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, it is my first year-end series, the most disappointing games of 2023 countdown. I've got 10 games lined up, and likely each game I'm going to talk at least 5 minutes about, but I think once we start getting to like the top 5, I'm going to have a lot more to say, you know? So basically it's gonna be the night stream. If we end up finishing early, that's fine, but also keep in mind that it's interactive, meaning if someone has something to say about one of my picks and wants to say something, I'll talk to them live during the content. If a contribution comes in, I'm going to shout it out live during the countdown. So it's not just me talking for this countdown. There is interactivity between us during it, which could make it longer than, say, just an hour. I feel like the countdown will be around 90 minutes. I could be wrong, but I think it'll be around 90 minutes, and then we'll probably have a little bit of extra time to kind of just hang out and chill for the rest of the stream. So we'll see how it goes tonight, okay? Then, tomorrow, we are swinging back to Resident Evil 0 Remastered, where I am at a very, very, what's the right word for it, right? I'm at a very rough patch where I'm stuck in a save room with little to no health, with little to no ammo, surrounded by killer monkeys, and I don't know how I'm going to survive and get out. I hope I didn't soft lock myself, is kind of what I'm saying here. I guess we'll see tomorrow. I mean, literally, I might die 17 times in a row before I find a way out of this situation. I'm in a sticky situation. Thank you. A precarious position, Balsam. Thank you. That's a good description. So that'll be interesting tomorrow to see how I get out of that and continue on with the playthrough. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, it is the other half of my year-end series. So the first half of the night stream at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time will be the viewer's choice, fan-voted best playthroughs of 2023. You guys have 1 day left to vote. You can type !best of 1 or !best of 2 into the chat right now. It is your absolute last chance to vote on what were your favorite playthroughs of the year. Later today, I'll be tallying up those votes and making the countdown based on your direct votes. All right? So how is that different from the Game of the Year awards? Well, the best playthroughs, any game that I played last year is eligible. It could be a new game or it could be a classic throwback. I did a lot of classic throwback playthroughs last year. Just off the top of my head from watching the playlist last night, Resident Evil 1 Remastered. Remember that when they remade it early in the 2000s and then I played that version early last year? Chrono Trigger. Grand Theft Auto 5, the Anniversary Run. Okay? Among many others. Like, there was a lot of kind of more throwback games that I played last year, and all of those games are eligible for your favorite playthrough of the year. But none of those are eligible for Game of the Year because they're not new games. Do you see the difference there? Now, in addition to that, of course, there were all of the new playthroughs of new games. So, please vote. I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with. But then once we get through that countdown, then we're going to do my official picks for the best games of 2023. And how many will there be? I don't know yet because I didn't do it yet. I have to do it tonight. I have to make my picks tonight and queue up the videos and everything. So I actually have no clue how many videos or how many games I'm going to be talking about in the countdown. All right? So I hope you'll join me for that tomorrow night. Okay? Then, Wednesday, my final consecutive streaming day of the week, we got more Baldur's Gate 3 on deck, so I hope you're ready. Probably is going to be more Underdark, I would think. And then Wednesday night is the super special mystery late night stream. I've been hyping this up all week. All I'm going to say is this. You don't want to miss it. If you can be here for the late night stream on Wednesday, you should absolutely be here. If you can't be, don't worry. As usual, I will archive it by recording and uploading it. But if you could be here live, you will want to be here. That's all I'm saying. All right? That's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to go any further than that because I don't want to spoil. But I think you guys will be very excited. Let's just say that. Okay? So, there you go. I told you guys. This year, I had tons of initiatives and things going on, right? You know I talk about DSP Throwback every day because that's the one that I'm working on every day, but there's other things behind the scenes and stuff. So this is going to be exciting. I hope you guys will join me on Wednesday if you can be here. And if not, don't feel bad again. It'll be recorded, but it's going to be awesome to be here live, okay? So there you go. All right, and that's my streaming week. Next week will be way more normal because there's no year-end series or anything like that, so it'll be the continuation of Baldur's Gate 3, Resident Evil 0 Remastered on the day streams. At night, it'll be some Street Fighter 6, way more Sea of Stars next week, which I know you guys want more of, and I haven't been able to play that much because of the special stuff this week. And then also, maybe, like I said, the return of Call of Duty for like a one-off stream just to play a little bit of multiplayer there. And we'll go from there and see how it goes, okay? So good stuff coming up. Keep in mind the next new releases on the channel are on the 26th of January, which will be Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which I heard Jasper Kitty's very excited for because there's cats in it. And then also Tekken 8 coming out. So that'll be exciting. And my next big event, marathon-style event, is going to be the return of that Super Bowl event that I did last year. This year the Super Bowl is on Sunday, February 11th, so my marathon will be on Saturday, February 10th. It'll feature food, booze, hangout session, probably some gaming. We're going to start talking about it very soon to determine what exactly will be in it. We got a month to figure it out. I'm not in a huge rush, but we should absolutely start talking about the specifics soon. Okay? Fair enough? What do you think? He just wants to get a nice head rub here. This is what he's up here for. Look at this. He's like, I don't care what you do on your marathon. As long as I get a nice head rub here on stream, I don't give a crap what you do. So there you go. He's loving it. Look. And then watch this. The butt pat. Cats love this. If you don't know this, this is a technique cats love. This is like petting a dog. I'm not kidding you. Cats love to be pet right here on their upper back, right below, right next to their tail. This is a spot that it's like the same as patting a dog on the head. They love it. Right, buddy? Okay. Anyway. Oh, so now let us talk. First of all, oh, he's purring. He's purring, Jasper Kitty, you silly boy. So, FYI, what was I going to say now? Because I'm having a brain fart. Oh, so guys, I'm just going to mention it basically once on this podcast. But as you know, I'm a crowdfunded individual. I don't have sponsorships. I don't have partnerships. I don't sell products. There's no paid promotions. I don't shill things. I don't play games for money. My content is 100% genuine. Everything I say and do on my streams is representative of my true opinions because I don't have to answer to anyone and worry about being canceled or losing, being dropped by a sponsor, anything like that. That's awesome, okay? The reason I'm able to do that is you, because of your crowdfunding. If it weren't for you crowdfunding this style of content, I would probably have to change for the worse. So I want to say thank you for 15 years of support where you've allowed me to be true to myself and then make truthful content to all of you. All right, I really appreciate you all. I really do. Yesterday, oh my God, right? Take a look. On yesterday's podcast, we got 200 gifted memberships from Nikita. 200. We went from the 600s to the high 800s yesterday. So if you came on stream this morning and you're like, wait a minute, I have a membership? What happened? That's what happened. Nikita came on stream and gifted 200 members. All right? So first of all, yes, that's going to help a lot this month. Thank you so much, Nikita. But this is awesome because now you guys will have memberships for the year-end series. You're going to have memberships for the special stream. You're going to have memberships for the new games coming out later on this month. This is exciting stuff, right? It's really excellent. So thank you, Nikita. And now you might say, well, oh my God, well, what's next? Well, as you know, I don't have monthly goals anymore. We got rid of monthly goals, and I just do events for the sake of doing fun events with you guys. That's why that Super Bowl event is happening, regardless of how many members we had. I don't care. Instead, we do small daily goals. So today, I'm doing 2 streams, one of Baldur's Gate 3, one of my year-end series. Man, it would be great if we could hit 885 members, get about 11 new ones. Whether that's you're someone who watches the content, you like it, and you join yourself, whether you're someone who likes this community and maybe wants to support it, so you gift some memberships to fellow viewers. However it may be, that would be awesome if we could hit 885 by the end of today's 2 streams. So by the end of all of today's content, that would be my goal, okay? My other goal, as you guys know, I always try to hit a $50 goal of tips every stream. Now, particularly with the Baldur's Gate 3 streams, we've done exceptionally well. I don't think there's been a Baldur's Gate 3 stream yet where we haven't hit $100, which is amazing. And I want to say thank you for continuing to show up, engage, and support with these streams. Right now, Baldur's Gate 3 is the big playthrough I'm doing, right? Like, everything else I'm doing is kind of not as big of a deal. Resident Evil 0 Remastered is an older game that I've already played. Sea of Stars, it's an indie game. It has an audience. But definitely Baldur's Gate 3 is the big one right now. So to get that level of engagement and support on every stream has been tremendous. It'd be great if we can keep that up today. But again, my goal is to hit $50 on each stream that I do. So let's see if we can do that today. Okay? And that's that. I'm not going to mention it again on the podcast. So, briefly, before we get to shout-outs and the like, there's a little bit of stuff to talk about today, but not that much. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment, except that a lot of these days there's no time for this segment because there's nothing to talk about. It's time for DSP News. And on DSP News this morning, I'd like to talk about 2 hot topics. The first topic is that several Microsoft-owned game studio franchise X accounts, not Twitter, it's not Twitter. If you say Twitter, you're absolutely misreporting. And I already saw several people say Twitter, and that's absolutely ridiculous. People are saying Twitter. It's not Twitter, it's X. X accounts. You got to go like this. When you talk about X, you have to, it's actually required you do this. You have to say, they're X accounts. X going to report it to you. You have to do this. If you don't do this, you've not done it properly. If you just say X account, X account. Now you know that you're talking about the social media site, okay? So, on their X accounts, including Fable and Avowed, these accounts have now been verified officially on Twitter as official company accounts as part of the Microsoft brand, and they have updated a lot of their marketing information. For example, Avowed now has a new banner that says coming in 2024, which we didn't actually know. Like, we didn't know Avowed was coming this year. We knew it was being developed by Obsidian, but we didn't know. I should explain. Do you know what Avowed is? Well, that's stupid. Avowed is the fantasy RPG first-person style game coming out from Obsidian. Remember, Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas, and Obsidian had actually made offers to Bethesda to make a spin-off Elder Scrolls game for many, many years, and Bethesda said, nah, that's okay, we'll just have the official teams do it. So now there's been no Elder Scrolls content in a zillion years besides Skyrim re-released 400 times, or Elder Scrolls Online, which most people don't play, but still has a dedicated fan base of people who've played it like since day one. So Obsidian said, well, screw that, we're going to make our own then. Forget your Elder Scrolls shit, we want to make our own fantasy game. And that's what Avowed is, and they actually showed footage of it recently. What was it, at the Game Awards? I thought it looked great. I seriously thought Avowed looked amazing. I cannot wait to play this. So, yeah, so now we know it's supposed to be coming out this year. All right, we didn't know that previously. Now, Fable also updated their X account, and it doesn't clearly say 2024. So what people are speculating is what's going to happen is all these Microsoft-owned accounts are going to update, and if their games are coming out this year, you're going to see it say that, and if they're not going to have a date. So if it don't have a date, don't count on it coming out this year, but the fact that Avowed says coming 2024 is good news. For me, that's great news. We haven't had a first-person fantasy RPG in ages. I don't want to replay Skyrim for the 19th time, you know? So this is excellent news, and I'm happy for this, and I hope that we get more information on Avowed soon. The other piece of news, which isn't really news because it's based on rumors, but it's caused controversy for the last 3 or so days in the gaming social media circles, is thus. You ready for this? So how many of you out there remember a little game by the name of Hi-Fi Rush that came out early last year? If you remember, it was a surprise drop. No one had really hyped it or marketed it or announced it. It just was surprise. It's out on Game Pass right now. Go play it on your Xbox console or on PC. Hi-Fi Rush was made by Tango Gameworks, the same company that made The Evil Within 1 and 2. So it was really weird that they had made a totally different style of game, nothing like the previous games they had released. Well, I can tell you, it was pretty darn good. I did a full playthrough of it, and I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was flawless. I certainly didn't think that it was worthy of the tremendous amount of butt kissing that it was getting from gaming media at the time. What ends up happening is early every year, usually there's a drought of games. So if anything comes out that even is a semblance of playability, the gaming media eat it up and act like it's a 10 out of 10 game. That definitely happened with Hi-Fi Rush last year for absolutely no good reason. Still a great game, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as good as they claimed it was, okay? I played it, I liked it, and you know, it did good. Like the Tango Gameworks reported, yeah, the game actually did very well. We weren't expecting it to do as well as it did because it was part of Game Pass. It got exposure and a lot of people played it. So the rumor is that basically this game is now going to be ported to the Switch, and just within, shortly, like within a few months, it's going to be live on the Switch to purchase. And people are saying there's these different opinions about this, okay? And first of all, the thing that gets me is, why is this news and why are people like confused, right? Games all the time get ported to other platforms. PlayStation games get ported to PC. PC games get ported to console. Games that originally were on other consoles get ported to the Switch later on because they have to figure out a way to get it to run properly on the Switch, right? In fact, I would argue the only thing that literally never happens, you never see a first-party Nintendo title ever get ported anywhere else. You will never see a Mario game, a Zelda game, a Metroid game, a Donkey Kong, a Mario Kart. You will never see those flagship franchises on other platforms. For whatever reason, Nintendo wants to keep their IPs close to their chest. They don't want anyone else messing with them, so they just stay there on that console, right? But for the most part, these ports happen all the time, okay? So why are people freaking out? Oh, well, because Tango Gameworks is now owned by Microsoft, and therefore, we thought that all their games were going to be Microsoft exclusive forever. We thought it would only be on Xbox, console, and PC. So if that game truly goes to the Switch, it feels like they're jumping shit. Jumping shit. Some people, I think, they need to, like, take a Business 101 class. They really do. Like, if you're going to comment on the games industry, you should at least have a cursory amount of knowledge about how business works, how games work. You know, this is not like rocket science. If you make a game and it sells, but then after a while it stagnates because it's been out for a while, you might want to present that game on other platforms because those platforms haven't had access to said game yet, and it might reinvigorate the sales. Right? I mean, this is not something new at all. In any way. On top of that, you know, Hi-Fi Rush actually has a pretty unique visual style, right? With its cell shades. Cell shades. Can you get a pair of sunglasses that make everything look cell shaded? They call them cell shades. That'd be pretty neat. But has unique cell shading graphics, right? Has a very unique timed musical input style. You have to play to the rhythm to actually deal damage, and then that factors in later on with defense and platforming and stuff, right? It's actually a very unique game, and I feel like unique games find a home on the Switch or on the Nintendo console, right? Over the years, you can find a lot of these unique style games that really do well on Nintendo consoles. So why does it not make sense to some people that Hi-Fi Rush would be ported to Switch? I'm actually at a loss. Besides, people are just really ignorant and are like, well, I just want you to know that, you know, if it's on Xbox exclusively at some point, it should literally never be on any other console ever again, or else you're, like, betraying the Xbox fan base. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Since when did it... First of all, console wars are so outdated. To even be embroiled in any kind of a console war in 2024, you must have, like, a long, scraggly beard, right? Your knees must be wiggling when you walk like this. You must have a nice big cane. You must look like Master Roshi walking around. Oh, me Xbox console. I can't get my games on another platform. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Console wars are so last 2 console gens ago, right? If anything, taking a look at the PS5 and the Xbox, they're almost equivalent. The difference are the console exclusives, of which there aren't that many. All right? So it's not even that big of a deal anymore. Now, you can argue, well, then why was there such big controversy over the Activision Blizzard buyout and things like that? You're right. There are definitely still things that seem like they're big residuals of the olden days. I will admit that. But for the most part, do we all have to be at each other's throats? Do you have to be a Sony pony or an Xbot? Or hell, what do they call Nintendo fanboys? I don't know. What do they even actually call them? Yoshitoshis? Metroid droids? What do they call them? What do you call a Nintendo fanboy? I don't know. But I just think... Oh, children. That's... Oh, the Nintendo fanboys are just children. That's fucked up. Forget it. I'm not even going to say that one. Wow. Anyway. So, I think you understand the point I'm making. Like, why would you have to be a particular fanboy of any particular console in the modern day? I just don't understand it. I really don't. The whole days of the PC master race versus the consoles, each console being at each other's throats. We're all just gamers now, right? Gamer is mainstream enough. We don't have to have these factions and cliques and weird groups that are at each other's throats all the time. I'm happy to see a game do well on any console. I'm happy to see multiple companies prosper. I don't see the point in having other companies. Like, here's the thing. Competition is healthy. Do you understand that? It is very healthy. If it weren't for competition, we wouldn't have amazing values like Xbox Game Pass. We wouldn't have these programs where the gamer benefits because the companies are trying to compete. You see? Competition is fine. And what's hilarious about all of it is The executives of these companies don't hate each other. They've outright come out on social media and supported each other and gone to events together and shown up and represented their companies together. So why are the fans into this crazy fanboyism in 2024? I don't get it. There's legit people who are so upset with the fact that Hi-Fi Rush might be ported to a Nintendo console. That's totally unfair. Mario would never be on Xbox. So why in the holy hell would we have this? I just don't understand it. And it's like, because it's business. This company worked hard on this game. By the way, a little bit of information has come out about Hi-Fi Rush over the last year. Were you aware Hi-Fi Rush was in development for over 3 to 4 years before? Remember, we didn't even know the game existed, and all of a sudden they just dropped it early last year out of nowhere. Everyone was shocked it came out. The game was supposed to be announced at E3 2020, which got canceled because of the pandemic. So they just kept pushing back the announcement. We'll do it at this digital event. We'll do it this. They just kept holding it a secret and never announced it. So imagine you being a game dev and your game was supposed to get started and get hype in 2020, and then no one knows about it. And the next year, E3 canceled. No one knows about it. So every year you get told, oh, well, just wait. We'll wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is literally release day. Now people will know about your game, right? So if anything, the Hi-Fi Rush people are lucky that the game got the exposure it did, right? I guess being on Game Pass did give it that giant boost of exposure at an otherwise dead time of year, which was good for them. But it could have been very poorly. Imagine working on that game for 4 or 5 years of your life and then no one ever plays it because no one knew it existed. It just fizzles and dies. So it's good that it went the way it did, that it got recognition, because it is a game that I think deserves recognition. It's pretty fun. But now it's been a year. Everyone who wanted to play it on Xbox has played it. Everyone who wanted it on PC has played it. Give it more life. There are other people out there who might enjoy the game. You know, yeah, Tango Gameworks is technically owned by Microsoft, but why do we need to limit the content that they put out to only a Microsoft console when it could definitely have more attention, more players, more sales on another console? I just don't get it. Why would you do that? I understand that you want to say you want an exclusive for Xbox. It was exclusive for a year. A year! Don't you think a year is long enough? After a year, if you wanted to play it, you probably have, right? So, I think it's time, yeah, if they want to port it, let them do it. I do not understand this whole tribalism, because that's exactly the right word for it. It's tribalism. Like, we're all in different tribes that are competing. There's absolutely no way that if you like Xbox, that you should ever support one of their games going to another console. And there's no way that if you're a Nintendo fan that you should support Sony having a big day. You know, what are you talking about? It's just ridiculous. That you know, and a hilarious part about it is it's Hi-Fi Rush, right? This is not like, oh, Starfield is coming to Switch, or, you know, Halo is coming to PlayStation 5. It's not even an announcement like that. It's just a very smaller time game that got some mainstream recognition because it hit Game Pass at the right time. So why is everyone freaking out? So this is what I mean. Like, this has been happening for a few days. It's like, well, when should I talk about this story on the show? It's just so silly that it's worth mentioning and having some discussion over. But is it really like a big story? No. The people who act like shit like that is a big story are boring people who have nothing to talk about. So they put it on the internet like it's some huge deal. Like, oh my god, Hi-Fi Rush might come to the Switch. It's not even confirmed, by the way. It's just a fucking rumor. But I find it absolutely hilarious that people on, like, the X, they're Xing about this. And they're saying that it's some big deal, when in reality, anyone with their head, you know, not in the clouds, understands that it's just business. It's not a big deal. And these people are just drama queens for the sake of getting clicks. It's stupidity. Okay. All right, guys, that is DSP news for today. Like I said, there wasn't that much. I've been kind of trying to save up some stories to at least have a segment to talk about. So what we'll do now is some shout-outs, and we'll see where the day takes us, see if we have some Q&A or whatever we have time for. Let's find out. We start off today with a $1 tip. Why do you criticize LTG for playing with kids' toys when you quite literally play with a bubble blower at age 40? Because I don't. When was the last time you saw me use one of those bubble guns? It's the viewers who pester me if we happen to hit 100 likes on a stream to blow bubbles. It was something silly that I did years ago. I'll be honest. I don't really like doing it anymore because it gets bubbles all over the office. And everything gets sticky, and I gotta clean everything in the office. It's a pain in the ass. So I only do it if people really pester me about it, and then we do it because it's something that I was doing for a bit. But I don't really feel like it's a big deal or it's anything that adds any meaningful stuff to the stream. I know people kind of do it to troll now because like, make a 40-year-old blow bubbles. Let's all ask for bubbles. Let's ask for bubbles. I maybe come to the point where I just say we're not doing it ever again. Okay? So nice try, because the difference here is that this is a rarity thing that we do every once in a while when people pester me for it. That's different than LTG going out actively buying a children's toy, putting it on his hand, putting up giant segments, literally long segments about him playing with his plastic gems and banning people based on the gems. Like, how do you not understand the difference? Oh, that's right, because you're a fucking idiot. So thanks for the $1 tip, you stupid fucking idiot. Seriously, I mean, anyone with common sense can get an answer out of that without being a moron. I mean, you're a fucking moron. Okay. Nice try, though, because I always like it when people attempt to make me look bad and fail miserably because they're so stupid. Okay. I received a $5 tip from Mr. Puffy Nipples. I heard on one of your videos you said you might bail on the documentary. I hope you won't bail. I want to hear your side of the story. Huh? Okay. Really? You heard that, right? You heard that Phil's bailing on the documentary. That's interesting. It's news to me. That's news to me. I didn't hear that. So that's cool to hear that you heard that somewhere. That's really exceptionally awesome that you're hearing that. When it, you know, I didn't, it's not anything from me. So there you go. You believe what you want to believe. I can't make you not believe nonsense. All right. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, Mr. Puffy. I mean, someone with such an exceptional name. Obviously, you only listen to the correct people, right? I mean, no. What I said yesterday, all right, was that there are ridiculous conspiracy theories out there. One of the conspiracy theories is that Mike Klum is somehow a secret agent of Keemstar, and Keemstar is paying him money to make these negative documentaries about people like Boogie and me. Like, this is his evil agenda, right? And I'm like, so what exactly evidence do you have of any of this? Because, to my knowledge, Mike Klum is a successful businessman who makes all kinds of content outside of YouTube documentaries. He's trying to now get into YouTube documentaries as something new to do. He's done one that was successful. He wants to branch out and make more. He doesn't want to make the same documentary twice, so my documentary is very different from the Boogie doc. And I have seen absolutely, positively nothing whatsoever as any kind of evidence to show me that Mike Klum is a secret agent of Keemstar. Where do you guys get this shit from? Like, how much fan fiction do you write in your bedrooms? I mean it. Like, what is going on? Can you, like, stop for a minute and realize that what you're doing is absolutely ridiculous and stupid and a waste of everyone's time, including yours? Like, what on the fuck are you talking about? It's just, again, they want to have these, everything has to be drama, right? Everything has to be absolute ridiculous, over-the-top nonsense for the sake of it being ridiculous, over-the-top nonsense. Instead of being realistic or real or, you know, rooted in reality, we have to have, like, the most ridiculous scenario must be the true one. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's wild, the stuff people come up with. Really, it's absolutely nuts. So, no, like I said, this was what we were talking about, is that people were saying they're suspecting this. I was like, well, do you have any evidence? If you have evidence, show me right now. And if you can concretely show me evidence that Mike Klum is a secret agent working with Keemstar, I will back out of the documentary. And that's about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everything that we've done and worked on so far about this, and by the way, I have not done, you know, we haven't done any filming or anything yet. We're getting to the point where we're scheduling that out. And I got to let you guys know ahead of time if there's like a week or two when I'm not going to be here consistently, because that's going to happen, just to forewarn all of you. Coming up later this year, probably in a couple months or so, there's going to be weeks where I'm not going to be here every day streaming. There's going to be days off when there's nothing I can do about that. I need to go film, right? So that's going to happen. But it just makes no sense at all, the stuff that people are saying. If you're going to say nonsensical, controversial, crazy conspiracy, prove it. right? Don't just say, oh, well, I have 472 pieces of circumstantial evidence, none of which actually prove anything, but if you tape them all together with Scotch tape on a wall, and you take those little twine strings, and you take little push pins, and you connect the dots on these things like some insane conspiracy theorist, and if all of this somehow is circumstantially true, the conclusion is that Mike Klum is the secret agent of Keemstar, all right? I'm just going to tell you there's a little place for you, all right? It's a little bit down the road from you. It's a big white building. If you go inside and you talk to the security guard, what they're going to do for you, they're going to put a nice jacket on you. It's nice and comfy and loose. In fact, it's so loose that the arms are actually much longer than your arms. And to make sure that you're extra comfy, they'll attach those arms underneath so that you won't have to move around and accidentally dislocate your shoulder. And then get this, they're going to put you in a nice comfy room where the walls have pillows all over them. So you can't hurt yourself. You can literally just bounce off the walls in comfort for the rest of your life in there. It's going to be a really nice place. I recommend you go check it out. The rest of us will be here on stream, okay? Holy goodness. Let's continue, shall we? Ridiculousness. Okay. All right, I received a $20 tip from 1 Minute Man. He says, use the scroll of summoning Quasit to learn the spell for unlimited use. The Quasit pet is a nifty little creature in tight spots, invisible and scary, adds fun to the game. Did you guys not tell me that I guess my class uniquely can learn spells permanently through scrolls? I didn't know that, nor do I know how to do that. I think someone had said that I'm a sorcerer class, and unique to the sorcerer class is that you can learn brand new spells with scrolls, right? If that's the case, maybe I should look at what scrolls I have and figure that out, because I'm not aware of that, and I don't remember the game ever saying that. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying I'm not aware of the game ever saying that. I missed that scroll, so I don't have it. Oh. Would I be able to buy it? Would I be able to go buy that scroll from somewhere? Right? I don't know. I guess this is something interesting to talk about. Is it possible with my class, because I think I'm sorcerer class, right? Sorcerers cannot, only wizards can. Oh, is that true? I'm not a wizard, right? I'm a sorcerer. So sadly, 1 Minute Man, I don't think what you're saying would be possible. I don't think I'm the correct class to use and permanently learn a spell from a scroll. So there you go. Gale can, though, I'm being told. Gale can, but not me. Only wizards. Okay. It's a unique scroll found in the village. What village? I have no idea. All right, anyway, thank you, 1 Minute Man, for the recommendation. I'm not quite sure that what you're recommending can be done, though, based on what people are saying in the chat. I don't know. So, okay. So, guys, I've gotten through the shout-outs for today. So, if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask me and tag me in the chat, by all means do. Thank you to those who have contributed in some way. Now, wait a minute. Oh, crap. I just realized I have the wrong leaderboard up. Hold on. I might have things to shout out. I completely have the wrong leaderboard up. I do have things to shout out. I'm sorry. So we started off today with Jade actually re-upped his membership at 31 months. And he says, I'll see you tonight. Yes, because Jade is not a big fan of Baldur's Gate, so he doesn't hang out for that. But thank you so much, Jade, for 31 months of support. I really appreciate that. I hope you have a good day. I will see you tonight for the Disappointing Games Countdown. G-Turnal did a super chat. Said, Starfield is definitely the most disappointing of the year. That's your opinion. You'll know my opinion later tonight when I do my own countdown. Big Mac with a super chat says, hey, what's up? How are you doing today? I'm doing good, Big Mac. Thank you very much for asking. Ready for more Baldur's Gate today for sure. And apologies, I almost missed your contribution because I had the leaderboard from the React Show open. I was like, why is it not moving? And Genetics, re-upping their membership for 11 months as it's been foretold in the sacred texts. What was foretold in the sacred texts? I don't know what that means, but okay. All right, Cracker Jack says, where'd I get this sweater? What kind is it? It's a cardigan sweater. My wife got it for me for Christmas. A Christmas present. A very nice sweater. It's very comfy. So. Hockey says, Sea of Stars is a while off. When you play it again, level up. You should start prioritizing offensive level ups. There's no Mario RPG. Some stats are better than others. It's static. Oh, well. I'm just picking stuff because I don't really know. I seem to be doing fine, but you're right. Maybe if it seems like enemies are having too much HP, I should up my offensive stats. Play cool, so I think you're going to vote Final Fantasy 16 is the most disappointing. You have more history with Final Fantasy than the Elder Scrolls. Again, you'll find out tonight on the countdown. Kimby Cruel says, if you watched the old movie The Wizard, I love the movie. I watched it when I was a kid. Super Mario 3 advertisement. Yes, I saw it. I saw it in theaters with my dad. Indeed. Because we were fans of Fred Savage. We used to watch The Wonder Years. So we went and saw the movie. Spidey 5000 says, have you ever played the Soul Reaver series? No. I'm aware of it. I know what it is. Never played it. Cypress said, did you know in Ask the King episode 47, you actually said the next GTA should have a female protagonist? Yes. Yes. I was correct. I correctly guessed it. I said, we've had enough of these male guys. The same. It's kind of almost, it's getting cliche now, right? We should have a female. If in GTA 5 there's 3 protagonists and they're all dudes, at the very least they could have a woman in there at some point. You know, just for variety purposes. I'm not even saying it matters. Just for fucking variety, for God's sakes, throw a woman in there for something different. And now they're doing that. It's almost like I could write games if I wanted to, and they'd be pretty good. I'm just saying. Okay. John says, every time I play Sea of Stars, I level up HP. You need it bad in that game. There you go. King Be Cruel says, can you sing the theme song to the Wonder Years? Yes. But I'm not going to. JDTV says, hey, Phil, I had my first day of work after holiday break. Now I'm tired. I'm almost falling asleep. I'm sorry to hear that. Because it's late for you, right? You're like way ahead of us, like by like 8-9 hours. So it's nighttime for you. Well, get some rest if you need it. If not, stick around and hang out for Baldur's Gate. Your call. Certainly don't force yourself to stay awake if you're beat. Do I believe in the power of a curse? The power of a curse? I mean, a curse probably has more power if you give it the power. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, there's some people who always want to attribute stuff in their life to some outside force, right? Sometimes it's just bad luck. Sometimes it's bad choices. Sometimes all these things going on. Certainly some people have better lives than others, and it might just be dumb luck that happens, and some people have to go through misery their whole life, and is that their fault? Maybe so, maybe not, right? Does anyone really have a curse? Maybe someone just wants to attribute their misery to something outside as a rationalization because they can't possibly believe that someone would have a life as bad as theirs, you know, and still live in like a fair society or whatever, or a fair world. Some people even say things like, well, why do bad things happen to good people, right? Why is it that the person who's a nice guy his whole life, you know, loses his job, gets cancer, loses his wife, you know, but then the fucking scumbag rich guy who literally screws everyone over for his whole life, nothing bad ever happens to him, and he's just constantly rolling in dough, rich, famous, no problems for his whole life, and he rides the wave of goodness. Yeah, you could say that basically there's a discrepancy there. Is it a curse against the guy who has the bad life? I don't know. Do you believe in magic? I hope you do, because you always have a friend wearing big red shoes. I never understood that song for McDonald's. That was actually when they took that song, Do You Believe in Magic, and they turned it to McDonald's theme song, and it was the weirdest thing. You always have a friend wearing big red shoes if you believe in magic. What the fuck are you talking about? I know it's supposed to be Ronald. It just didn't make any sense. But anyway, I don't know. Is there anything to it? I'm not a superstitious guy. I'm not. You know, someone might say to me, Phil, you're cursed. Because every time that something is going good in your life, something bad comes to negate the good. I don't know about that. You know, like maybe at one point I definitely believed that. And I would say my life has been a series of ups and downs. I used to call it waves. Sometimes I'd be on a wave of positivity going up, up, up. And you ride that wave as high as it can go and you enjoy it as much as you can because you know that you can't go up forever. Eventually it's going to crest and then you're going to go down. And you're going to have negative stuff going on in your life, right? And I could probably judge that entire run of YouTube that I've had, 15 plus years, I could probably see it went up and down, and like it went way up, then I got copyright strikes, and it went down, and then I had to try to find a way to make money because I lost my job, but then I got partnered, and then it went up, and then I was doing good, and I was getting views, and then This Is How You Don't Play came, and then it went down, and everyone hated my guts, but then I moved out here, and my life improved, and it went up, but then people hit me with false copyright strikes, and then I lost a lot of money, and then it went down. You see, I could do that, right? But in reality, can't everyone really do that with their life too? So can you really say, oh, it's a curse that bad things happen? Don't bad things happen to everyone? Maybe it's just a matter of perspective, right? Maybe it's a matter of just accepting the good with the bad and focusing more on the good and pushing forward with the good and getting through the bad and letting those times be in the past rather than dwelling on them. You know, I could sit here right now and be like, oh man, I was so popular 12 years ago. I had top YouTuber, and YouTube screwed me. They changed the algorithm, man. And then This Is How You Don't Play screwed me and made everyone hate me, man. And then there's false copyright strikes, and it screwed me, and now I lost all my views, man. But what am I going to sit here and do that for, right? Why am I going to sit here and be like a bitter, sourpuss idiot instead of saying, look what I have today, right? I have an awesome business where I can every day hang out with an awesome audience who want to interact with me, have a good time, help me actively to improve my setup, improve my content. I've got viewers that want to see all kinds of content, whether it's vlogging, podcasting, gaming, throwback content, react content, and there's more potential in the future to grow that I haven't even touched upon yet, right? I got a beautiful house. I got a beautiful family, a wife that loves me, a cat that's awesome. I got my health, and we can continue on. You got all these good things going on in my life. Why would I just sit there and dwell on the negatives that have happened? And the thing is, there's going to be more negatives in my life. It's not always going to be good. I might tend to focus on the positive these days, but you know, negative things happen from time to time, and that's just life. Get through it, and you know, maybe no one truly has a curse. It's just about your perspective. If all you want to do is sit around and talk about the negative things that happen to you constantly, maybe you're just going to be stuck in that rut, and you're never going to feel like anything positive will ever come. So when it does come, you don't even realize it. So I tend not to live like that moving forward, okay? Okay. Felix the Mate says, individualism is the reason superstitions exist. Sure. Orange says, is there a long-term plan for DSP Throwback after you upload all the lost media, like upscaling older footage you did when you started direct capture? That's 720p. I guess you haven't been paying attention. We talked about this in the last few days. Step one, get all the legacy content on the channel that's missing. Anything that's completely missing, get that on the channel, okay? And that's going to take months to do. Step two, consider doing exclusive content to that channel. For example, maybe a late night stream where I react for just a couple of hours to some of my old playthroughs. Imagine me watching the first 2 hours of Final Fantasy 13 and doing a live react to my old style of commentary, right? Cringing at the bad stuff, laughing at the jokes, having a good time in general with the community. Imagine me doing a throwback night where we can do back in the day, where you guys can field questions. You know, you'll ask me questions about what was it like being a YouTuber 15 years ago, right? How was it? How did you actually set that camera up and make it work? What was uploading like? What was setting up your channel like? What was it like interacting with people only through video comments because there was no streaming or anything? What was it like with the original reception of your content? How was it going to conventions? You know, I could think of a zillion questions you could do, and that would be a fun piece of content to put on the channel. Not only a live stream interacting, but also just having there to talk about throwback style content creation. And then long term, once all of that content is up there, all the legacy content that's been missing, right? The stuff that doesn't exist anywhere, including Final Fantasy 13, Red Dead Redemption, and its expansion, and its online play, and LA Noire, and some missing stuff, because I think there's some vlogging, and some countdowns, and other things that may be missing media that we could get up there, all right? Then, we still have around 2+ years of content, right, that I had on the original Dark Side Phil channel that no one really watches anymore, because it's just outdated 10-minute parts, looks and sounds like shit, and I could take some of those classic playthroughs, and those could be the next projects to be upgraded and put on DSP Throwback, right? Basically, anything that was not direct capture, you've got a span of 2008 all the way through 2013, where all of that content could be made way more modernized and more accessible, and just more content to be made out of that, right? So, there you go. I think that's the plans for the channel. Now, is that channel going to infinitely exist? No. There's going to be a limit. Eventually, the throwback stuff will end. But considering the fact that it could take upwards of 2 months to upload a single playthrough like Final Fantasy 13, right? I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. You know? It could be a long, long time from now. So. Chris, you're welcome. Zen Shuriken, Part 5 of Final Fantasy 13 that went live 2.5 hours ago is 30 frames, and I need people's feedback. Do you like the 30 frames or the 60 frames better? There's no ghosting in the 30 frames, but it's only 30 frames. Actually, it's a little lower than 30 frames, so that's the feedback I need. Okay? Okay, didn't I say my reaction to This Is How You Don't Play caused the downfall, not the videos itself? Here's the thing. A lot of people didn't know who I was, and when the first exposure they ever got about me was This Is How You Don't Play, they got a negative exposure about me. And I remember particularly back then that people were coming by my content and saying, hey, I'm here because of This Is How You Don't Play. Now, if the first response you hear from me after watching it, This Is How You Don't Play, is, wow, those people are thieves and degenerates and scumbags. They didn't ask me for permission to use my content, so therefore they broke the law. And that's copyright infringement, and they shouldn't have done that because they're doing it unfairly and putting me in a negative light. Instead, if I had said, hey, that's kind of cool what they did, let's do that for every playthrough moving forward. Let's have a negative montage about me to laugh at, but then we could also do a best moments montage, right? Now, I could have taken advantage of all of that going on and rolled with it, and I think people would have enjoyed that better. Give you an example. Remember my incident in 2016? Did I immediately, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks after that, say, everyone who talks about that incident is a piece of garbage? How dare you, wallow in my misery and my mistake? No, I laughed at it. I said, you know what? It is funny, right? Let's all have a good time. I changed my avatar on Twitter at the time to something that was in line with the embarrassment, and it was funny. And because of that, literally, that moment has had zero impact on me long term. People still talk about it, but I still have a successful business. I still have a successful fan base, and everything is good. You see? If I had flipped on that, okay, and said, oh, it's a big negative and don't talk about it, that would have been basically career ending. You understand? So that's the difference. It's all about in the reaction. And my initial reaction to This Is How You Don't Play was very, very wrong. Is that the sole reason for negativity towards me? No. Because in reality, a lot of those first videos were very mean-intentioned. They were meant to be mean-intentioned towards me. And I think that was the problem, was that when I first saw it, I saw it that way. Instead of saying, okay, this is kind of funny, I thought, wow, this is kind of messed up. Couldn't they put a single positive thing into this video, right? And it irked me the wrong way. It really did. Back then, you got to keep in mind, it was a different time. And at that point, I was still kind of viewed as one of the top gaming YouTubers. I was still being given opportunities. I was still being talked about in the circles. My videos were still featured in the YouTube search. And to be now told that, oh, by the way, all that successful content you made for the last 5 years was actually just trash. We just didn't tell you. It's like, what? No, I never would have been popular if it was trash, right? Literally, no one would be watching the DSP Throwback content right now if it was really trash. No one would have watched a single video. They would have said, why are you even re-uploading this? Throw it away, right? So obviously it's not the case, but that's how those videos portrayed me, and that's why, at the time, not seeing big picture, and also not really having much guidance, because I didn't really listen to anyone back then. It was all me. So it was like, I just do things for myself, right? I make my own judgments, and I live with them, but I didn't have, I didn't take constructive criticism. I didn't accept feedback back then. It was like, I know better than everyone because I'm the YouTuber who's making the popular videos, not you, so why would I ever listen to you? And that was really stupid. Now I know that, but that's the problem. As they say, hindsight is 20/20. Today I can look back and say, man, me of 10, 12, 15 years ago was an idiot. But I didn't know that at the time. I was ignorant, Ignorance is I don't know. It sucks. I wish that I was more well-informed. I wish that when I was becoming a popular YouTuber, that there had been someone else like me who had come before me. In reality, there was none. No one was like me doing the improv commentary style and becoming as popular on YouTube as quick as I did and becoming a prominent name on YouTube. No one. I was the trailblazer in that regard. So there was no path to follow. There was no, oh, here's the outline of how this person conducted themselves and got successful. Here's how they handled criticism. Here's how they handled this or that. There was nothing. So it was just figure it out for yourself. And I made a lot of mistakes back then. And definitely my reaction to This Is How You Don't Play was one of those. Okay? It's not the sole reason. To say that my bad reaction to This Is How You Don't Play would have been the sole reason for my decline is ridiculous. There was all these different factors going on. There was, YouTube algorithms changing. Monetization formulas were changing. Actually, people were signing to big networks and things and getting featured over others. And I never signed with any network or to be featured on any website. I was always a man alone. So I kind of started to fade into obscurity while others were getting pushed prominently forward into the limelight of gaming, right? But that's something for another day. I don't want to talk about that all morning. So. Okay. Anything else, guys? You thought Wings did commentary first? Honestly, I'm not here to debate dates. But the kind of commentary Wings did, he was like talking about personal life issues with his audience over his gameplay videos. Or he was commentating on this first-person shooter gameplay. I was a person who I would play any kind of game, and I would do this improv style, very irreverent, immature, but funny commentary over any style of game, and I was known as the premier playthrough guy on YouTube. You want to have a good time laughing at a guy who will say anything and actually play a new game and beat it fast? That's Darkside Phil. That's what I was known for like 3 straight years. I was the go-to guy on YouTube for that stuff, and that's how my popularity skyrocketed. That's how I was getting over 10 million views a month with raw gameplay videos. I want you to think about that. Nothing edited. Not a countdown. Not a video with clickbait titles saying, the worst game ever. Just me playing video games. Just playing raw. Over 10 million views a month on YouTube back in the day. That was unheard of. And that's what I was getting. Excuse me. All right. Anything else, guys? Anything else you'd like to chat about? Please tag me in the chat. We have a few more minutes before I adjourn the podcast and we get set up here for more Baldur's Gate. It's wrap-up o'clock. Orange says, just a small thing I've noticed from your latest Final Fantasy 13 video, even then, so we're talking 14 years ago, I mentioned how cringy romance scenes were in games. People act like it's something new, but you're consistent. No, you're absolutely right. Even back in the day. All right, whenever there was this sappy romance in a game or love scene or a romantic thing, I always treated it like a joke. I always made fun of it, over-the-top commentary on it to try to make it more entertaining. I never felt comfortable, all right, basically doing romantic content for a public audience because I don't think it's meant for a public audience. Do you understand? Romance in a video game is fine. Romance in a movie is fine, right? But imagine you're watching one of these sappy action movies from the 1980s or 90s with Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there's a love scene, right? So it's like Sly or Arnold making love to a woman, and your mother's in the room, sitting right next to you watching this movie. And like, it's a little uncomfortable, no? That's not meant for public consumption. That's what, yeah, it's part of the movie, but it's not meant to be sitting around with a public audience when that's happening. And that's kind of how it feels to me when I'm playing a video game and they're doing a romance situation or whatever. I'm like, well, that's fucking not supposed to be for all of us to be watching together. So why would I want to do that in the public playthrough that I'm very much doing right now over the internet, right? So, Adam, oh my goodness. Adam says, I just watched part 5 of Final Fantasy 13 and there's way less ghosting. Yes, because it's 30 frames. It's not 60. I just said that a million times yesterday and today. This video, starting at part 5, we reduced it back down to 30. We stopped increasing the frame rate to 60. So you shouldn't see ghosting, but do you like it better without the ghosting, or did you prefer the 60 frames? That's the feedback that I really need. It's not, is there ghosting? There's definitely no ghosting because we turned off the AI frame rate upscale. But I need to know which one did you like better. That's the feedback I need. No, I remember back in the day, in my older playthroughs, whenever there was like a love scene, I would ham it up. I would say a ridiculous over-the-top either sexual joke or something to try to break the mood. Because if it's a serious romantic scene, why the fuck do we want to watch that together in a playthrough? So I'd say something absolutely ridiculous, over-the-top sexual, or a ridiculous joke. I remember in one of the playthroughs, I would say something racist, right? I would do it on purpose to break the mood, because it was fucking awkward watching that. So, but now, today, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to have a fucking romantic scene in a modern video game. I don't want to see Gale laying sausage down on Dark Scale Phil. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to see that at all. I had no desire to see that with you or anyone. You know, I don't need that in the playthrough, and everyone should have the choice to decide if they want to see that or not. And it's fine if you want to have it. That's for you. You could do it in your own playthrough, but leave me out of it. And I should have, you should respect that decision as well. It's funny, why is this such a big deal? It's not. The point is, I don't make a big deal of it. I'm just like, I'm passing on it. But everyone else makes a big deal of it. Oh, Phil passes on all romantic relationships in games. Yes, because to me, it's not a big deal. It's not something to share with a public audience. There's no point to doing that. But everyone else makes a big deal out of it. Why? Because those people are immature. Those people are like, oh, there must be a big problem if Phil doesn't ever want to have that. No, that's you. That's your problem being projected onto me. A well-adjusted adult who is very happy in his life state and doesn't need to have a virtual romantic experience in a video game I'm playing for public consumption. You understand? You're the one who wants that, not me. So you're the one with the problem if you try to impose that upon someone else, not the person who refuses to give in to your weird desire for something bizarre, quite frankly. No, saying that I want to skip certain content does not make me a prude. It means I've actively made a decision to not partake in that content. It's not a big deal. You don't have to do every piece of content in every single video game. If I choose to not publicly display virtual romance relationships for the public, that's my choice. And you either respect it or you move on because you're a fucking weirdo. You understand? If that's really what you're obsessing about in my content, you have a big problem. And you should probably assess it for yourself. Like, go speak to someone. Not me. Someone else, a professional, and say, you know, I like watching streamers, but my God, there's one who just won't do virtual romance, and I can't get over it. I think about it all day. And every single time they have that go on in a game, I have to talk about it endlessly. And, wait, what? Can you elaborate on this, son? Hold on, let me get my pad and take notes on the... Okay, let's find out about your fucking weirdness, okay? And then we can maybe try to diagnose. You need Freud on this case, right? It's like, what are you talking about? Why is that projected onto me? I received a $2.25 tip from Spawn Killer. A couple of games I would love to see you come back. Let's try that again. A couple of games I would love to see come back. Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter. Now, I don't even know what you mean by that. Do you mean you want me to replay those games? Do you mean you want me to bring those to the Throwback channel as updated playthroughs? Like, you like the classics, but you want to see the classics upgraded? I know for a fact that my classic playthroughs of Jak and Daxter and the original Sly Cooper playthroughs were not direct capture. I know that. So is that what you're saying? Because I'm very confused at what you're saying. Did I skip the God of War minigame? Don't you remember? Infamously in my God of War 3 playthrough, I did the minigame, but I photoshopped funny stuff over it. I had Roseanne Barr and Miley Cyrus and other people photoshopped into the scene to make it comedy. Even back then, God of War 3, how old is that playthrough? I was making jokes about that stuff. It wasn't serious content. But today, still people are like, oh, he's so different. No, I was the same back then. The difference was I was more irreverent and over the top with the content, but I still didn't take that shit seriously. Okay. Oh my goodness. No, I know. See, Gaia1 says, I'm actually watching, oh my god, excuse me. I'm actually watching, your Final Fantasy 13 playthrough, and I'm laughing at some of your comments about the outfits and stuff. Yeah, like, it's funny, because again, I haven't seen that playthrough at all since I made it. I literally have never watched Final Fantasy 13 at all since I played the game the first time. So I'm watching that back, I'm like, some of these references are so dated, but they're still funny to me, like, because I understand the references, but I'm wondering, like, the modern audience, do they even understand, you know, how they understand this stuff? It's, anyway, Spawn Killer did a super chat. He said, I meant for the remastered. Again, I don't know what that means. Spawn Killer, you have to elaborate here, okay? He says, I meant for, like, remaster. Do you mean me playing the remasters that came out in the HD collections and you want me to play those games again? Because I've already done that. Or do you want me to remaster the original playthroughs for DSP Throwback? I still don't understand what you're saying. And you don't have to contribute. You could just say it in the chat and tag me. Like I said, basically the order I'm thinking is, number one, get all the lost content that is not currently on the internet on DSP Throwback. Then number two, what are the older playthroughs that were not direct capture that you would like to see redone for DSP Throwback? HD upscaling, 30-minute parts, better thumbnails and titling, better audio, right? Let's do all those improvements to those, you know. And that could be the original Sly Cooper playthroughs. That could be the original Jack and Daxter playthroughs, because they all totally were not direct capture. I remember there was camera. And then after, it was 2013, 2014, that I started doing direct capture stuff. Okay. All right. Are we ready to adjourn? It's been a longer podcast, but you guys had a lot of topics to talk about, right? Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much. Great show as usual. Tomorrow's show will be exciting because tomorrow we're going to finally get to talk about the year-end series, right? We're going to talk about my disappointing games countdown and everything that it entailed tonight on the late stream. And I'm excited for that, and I hope that you guys will join me tonight for that, but also come to the podcast tomorrow for kind of like the defusing. And I enjoy hanging out with you guys every day and talking about all these topics. Please give me your feedback over on DSP Throwback on the non-60 frames upscaled Final Fantasy 13 video from today. Which do you like better? Thank you for your viewership. Thank you for your support. I'm excited for more Baldur's Gate. There's a lot going on. Please have a great day. If I don't see you until tomorrow, be safe. And we'll have a lot to talk about. So peace out, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.